G'day, welcome. We are back to Oxygen Not Included. This is session 40 something, 45 maybe. Thank you for the comments on the previous video. We do have a few things to address here. So first up, it was pointed out that in the lock here, as Turner took off his suit in the last one, he did make a horrible, horrible mess. So let's not speak directly to him. We won't make eye contact with him for a while, and we'll just ask someone else to... Yeah, I know, Hassan, don't worry. I know. Okay, so the other good suggestion was that what I could possibly do is rejig this room, because there isn't any real need to have, say, the batteries or the transformers in the power station. But I could just shift this to somewhere over here so that that the two of those are in the power station. So the power station actually does include both of the generators without needing to include anything else. It saves me building a second one of those. So, to do that, let's work out, we'll have to redesign this mess of a setup. So, what we want is this to sit somewhere on this side, so that basically we can just extend this cabling across. So I think that possibly I could just put it here. So we only need... how many squares across is that? Probably 4. And then one more, because we're going to have the cable cut through the wall this way to get out. So if we go back into that sort of size, the other thing that we would then need to do is get rid of these gaps. Now, possibly those batteries could stay in. The problem that I have with this section here is those cabling. Those cables will have to have one of these transformers connect through the wall. Not the biggest issue. I can just put it there, and that solves the problem. So, let's copy that, and we will flip it that way. I've got to remove the stuff that's... Oh, it was just that. I've got to deconstruct. So let's remove that. Let's put a tile there. Let's deconstruct those 2 tiles. Alright, start with that. Okay. Great. So, the next thing that we will do... Actually, the other thing that we need is the tubing of this to be able to sort of work its way in here. We'll work that out. So, we won't delete that guy yet. Now I do need 3 high. So, everybody back. Let's fix this. Deconstruct. Deconstruct. You can probably just hit the deconstruct button to get rid of that. We'll get rid of all of that. Okay, so now we'll build across here. We'll cancel that one, and we will deconstruct 1, 2. Let's deconstruct that door. And we will put a ladder base right there. Did I just accidentally cut your power? Let me just double check. No, you've just got nothing. Oh, you're just meant to be connected to that transit tube, which I also have to address in a moment. Okay. Where's that water coming from? That must be a real story going on here. Guess that must be melting, or oh, they would have just melted, cut ice down or something. The ice has dropped down here, and then they've slowly made its way all the way down to here. Okay. Anyway, it's not a concern for now. So we will copy this guy, put him there. Now, the location of his battery could be problematic. Oh, no, that's fine. Okay, so what we would then do is the heavy wire cable for him would go up and across this way. We would then build a heavy watt panel, one there, one there. And we can have his heavy watt wires just run straight across. So that's his power connecting back into his already existing system. And then we just need to do hydrogen. So currently his hydrogen runs all the way around there. But instead what we can do is, let's go to our ventilation, gas pipe. Gas pipe reaches there before it sort of splits off. We could probably just take advantage of that same line. Just do that. Saves us having to move anything. Okay. So that then means that what we're going to need to do, now that's gone, if we go back to one of these and we copy that guy, not that guy, that guy, we copy him. So we are still going to need to move just the heavy watt wire sitting in between. So we're going to have a brief downtime of power. Just for good measure, we'll just tell them to get rid of all three. Although I'm sure that, let me just cancel that actually. I'm sure they're only going to have to get rid of that one in the middle. Okay, so once it's already gone, let's make sure that that's all I needed to do. Lovely. Okay, then what we'll do, we will deconstruct that one piece of ladder, and instead we'll copy it and we'll put a ladder there. We will then deconstruct deconstruct that ladder, that ladder, that ladder, and that one. And we will just build just a wall blocking that in. And what we'll do is we will... Actually, I had to make that with something particular, didn't I? So if I've copied that, have I correctly copied that with the right... It's gold amalgam. It is gold that I wanted to make it with, wasn't it? The properties where I can tell. Cool. Alright, good. So I've made that the right thing. So what I'm going to do is deconstruct that. So that they actually have the... No. Let's cancel that deconstruction for a moment, because what we don't currently have is this guy connected. Let's up the priority of that, because we need that going before we deconstruct this. Otherwise, we're going to have nothing running our power. I mean, we've got the coal generators at the top doing their thing, if they need to. That water is all clean too, so let's just mop it up. And we will move this again. So let's just do a quick deconstruct of all of these pieces. This will just be based on something else that was fed back in the comments. Need more copper ore. Okay, so let's go find some copper. Some right here. Let's go in and, sorry, we'll just want that one. We'll go dig that. That. What we can reach here. Maybe we'll build a ladder that way. And then dig everything on top of it. And we might just do the same thing the other way. Dig across that way. And dig all of that out of there too. But we'll leave that there for a second just to make sure we can get rid of that first. Yeah, I know guys, I've got to really give you some oxygen down here. Now we'll just quickly check our room overlay. Cool, it's still considered happily a power plant. I suppose if I cancel that guy from running, this guy will just run almost more non-stop. It's fine to keep going. I mean, the amount of power cables that I would disconnect, which would just be those ones there, isn't enough to sort of replace all the ones that are here. I'm only going to give up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or so. I need, what, 9? Okay, so while we're here, I do want to get rid of that, so oh yeah, I want to dig out that wall in a moment, but I will just wait for someone to clean this up. It's unreachable. Oh, it's unreachable because of this, right? Let's dig out both of those at least. Why are those considered unreachable, mop? Oh, because this stuff over here has no power, I guess? No, it should still be able to get there, wouldn't you? Let's extend this ladder all the way along there too. Just to get a bit more algae. And I'll drop that to sort of move that into that section, hopefully. Maybe if that's... I don't know. I would have thought that those would still work, the mechanized locks, even if they didn't have power. I mean, this guy's not even connected to anything at the moment. Talk to me about why this section doesn't have power at the moment. I missed something that I've done. So that guy's complaining. Right, we're still waiting on these two pieces to get done here. So let's really try and up the priority on this. Way that I can just do a group declare of that. Must be, but I don't know it. Alright, well, let's cancel that for now. We don't want to just keep smashing it every time. Oh, we do need copper ore. Let's check out the skills of everyone. I do have 2 diggers, so shouldn't just be all on Ellie to sort that out. Got the exosuit training for you, Barney. Make sure everyone else is sort of... Morale's very high there. Maybe it's, oh, you're only very new, aren't you? So we'll wait till you've got more skill points to use. I won't sort of force anyone else into anything. But everyone else with the exosuits, which seems to be the important thing that we have across the board. We need to get that copper. They can't reach the copper because they can't get out there, I guess. Real catch-22 we're dealing with for just get these 2 pieces of copper wire going. So talk to me about this wire here. Give me my wire overlay. So you're a whole section of stuff that's not really getting used anymore. So let's go deconstruct these power wires, just because we need the... let's see anything on here. So I guess we do need to connect that to something. We can just connect that straight across there, save us a fair bit of wire. Because that's not even being used. So we don't need it. Let me, I mean, they're already going into oxygen anyway, so we can deconstruct this whole thing, I think. Oh, unless we go into the bottom, top part. Let's cancel that. We'll leave it there for now. But is there any, there's ventilation attached to it, yeah. Let's double check what we've got set up here. So there's no wiring required, rather. Okay. So, cancel, oh sorry, deconstruct that, all of that, all of that, all of that, and then we'll just build a wire straight across there. Good, so that's finally gotten that wire built, and it's got this wire's going in too. So we can deconstruct him, and we can deconstruct the wiring associated with him. Cool, and the gas pipe will just, that pipe will suck the stuff out of that part of it, so we can deconstruct that too. So, this is going to keep coming down here. I suppose one thing that we can actually do is just say, dig out all that, and that addresses this problem anyway, because then the water will just fall through, and it won't be sort of, if I remove that wall, it's not going to roll this way. Problem is, it does mean that there is polluted water and everything coming in. The longer it takes us to get rid of that, the worse off we are. Okay. Oh, you almost made it, Ellie. So, then what we want to do is we want to extend out this way a few extra squares. And we'll deconstruct those two. Okay, now the reason that I'm doing this is because of my little transit station. One thing that was pointed out was that the transit station needs 2 tiles above it in order to sort of operate correctly. So, just for good measure, actually, I might raise the roof on that too. So let's deconstruct those two, cancel those two. And we'll go... I suppose there's no harm in going all the way up there. So we'll give that a higher roof. And we'll just put a ladder in here just for now, just to make sure they can actually build all the way up there. So that was another thing I had on there. So it was Turner's mess addressed. The tiles above the transit station, putting the 2 generators in a power station. Batteries can be outside. So the 2 other things, the thing I really do need to get into here is the carbon filter. Carbon skimmer, sorry. Where does that sit in oxygen? And I think water is a resource we've certainly got enough of. So... what we'll do is we'll deconstruct that. And I do wonder if what I should do is put some flooring, like some airflow tiles in this guy too, just to allow that to move a bit better. Put him here. I don't know if that means I should really move the oxferns just sort of up here, get them away from him. He's going to be too hot for them to be right beside. Right, okay, so we need liquid intake too. So, what is our output here? Is that Jeremy water? Alright, well that's easy for my water in. Assume that water will be fine for this guy too. So that'll be my right in. Then my output water is going to be... how am I going to connect this? It's a mile away. How was I going getting water down here? We've got heaps. Okay, so let's dig out another row of that. We're almost there. See, Stinky's getting the job done with the copper. Okay. So what kind of water am I outputting here? Because it's... it produces no breathable air. Okay. Got to assume it's polluted water. I mean, even if it goes into there, it'll eventually be siphoned out correctly. Suppose I could just drop it under the floor and then run it all the way. All the way around to here, I guess. Feels like a really long journey, but I can't see any closer point than that. Let's do a liquid bridge. There. It's only costs sandstone at least, so it won't break the budget. just follow the power cable. Just for aesthetics. I just think it does probably matter how hot this guy runs. Let's uproot my 3 ferns. And we'll just copy those and we'll move them up there. Deconstruct that. But we got a whole lot of people working on this. Hopefully you don't have to do it in no oxygen for much longer, guys. Okay, and we can deconstruct that, that. And we will go plant, and we'll copy settings for those 2. Okay. Now let's go some airflow tiles. Just because we don't want to have all the air just stuck. Not sure if there's anywhere under the incubation that we actually want to free out, so let's just remove that tile. Air could possibly get in there. Well, I suppose there's no air coming down here. That's not air that it's sort of sucking out. It's just as long as basically the carbon dioxide can pull down to it is all that matters. And since there's a gap down there, that should be able to do it. Okay. So back to our very expensive transit tube. Thank you for the suggestions as well that I need to do. Look into building a polymer press. That is certainly on. Actually, I don't need to get rid of that ladder while I'm doing this. That is definitely on my to-do list at the moment as well. So we'll go straight up. We'll put this. We'll deconstruct these pieces of ladder that now have a roof beside them. Actually, we're already out of plastic. Okay. Polymer press. Now, where does that live when it's at home? So, with a telescope, can I build that? Because I've had a few people suggest that I start to build that. Can I just build that here? And is there anything to know if I do cut myself open to the vacuum of space? I realize that all this is a vacuum. If I had a guy cut through here, are they going to suddenly get sucked out into space? Or is it just that I need to make sure that they are wearing a suit before they do it? Should I put an airlock setup, even though they should already be in a suit before they reach the vacuum of space? What would be my best practice for doing that? I'll submit a bioscan up there too. Get that moving along. And we need to work out our cabling for here. So the power wire should just be extend it along this guy that's currently not serving any purpose. And for this, I definitely I did read the comments that say that doing tune-ups isn't necessarily worth it. Like, potentially you could just build more generators, and it's possibly more bang for your buck. But, like I did say in one of the comments, potentially the amount of energy gaining from it isn't worth it. Alternatively, getting the achievement is worth it to me. So, so that's what I'm hunting for. Is even if I just do it 100 times and then kill it, it is just because it's challenging me as an achievement. So let's get it done. Okay. Cool. That next layer is gone. So let's dig out this guy too. Certainly feel bad that these guys have eggs in here. So should I rehome these guys in here? Is that something that I can? What are they called? Aku. Aku. So, can I put a drop off? Aku. No. Is there something that I should be doing in order to... Are these guys something that I should be moving in here to sort of gain their eggs? I want to put that one there so that it's at least connected to that transit tube section. Insufficient power. It's saying it needs 940 watts, and it's the only thing connected to 1,000. Is that watts? Backwards L. Alright, so talk to me. What, do I need more power connected to that in order for it to run? Not that it's going to run anytime soon. Sorry, let's go back to looking for our polymer press. Already there. Cool. Alright, let's enable that guy. I would like to rehouse these guys before I sort of steal their home. But I mean, it just looks like can't. They're wild, and that's all it is to it. No real sort of water source below them that I can drop to, except for these ones. But I mean, it would be a long journey for me to have to move them just to try and steal that water too. Someone did also say I should start looking at natural gas. I mean, that is so close that, yeah, probably should. And possibly that's what I should be using to run the transit tube. Polymer press. Converts petroleum into raw plastic. Now, I feel like I've got some petroleum around. What's up? Is that what's up here? It's crude oil. I assume that's what's going to be down here. So do I refine oil into petroleum and then have to refine petroleum into plastic? Yep. Alright, so that seems like it'd be quite a setup that I need going for that. But certainly if I want this built anytime soon, that is going to have to be my goal. There's definitely a lot of things in this section I don't feel like I've got. Finds lumber into ethanol. Have I ever seen lumber? Some glass. Raw sand. At least it looks like it's now coming in nice and strong. We do have to keep an eye on it because there is probably enough in here that we could flood this room. But I don't think it's going to be anything ultra quick. But I'd say that's where we're going to call this one on the beginning of day 300. So I guess the big questions, obviously the carbon skim is on its way. We've just got to wait for all the piping to be finished for it. The polymer press. So do I need to build, I guess I'll build an oil refinery and then a polymer press next to it. Oil refinery, should that be outside the walls of my base? Should I be building it close to this? Or just sort of close to my base? And should I be building tubing, I guess, to get the oil out of here? And what was my other question? I asked it before. Something about another station. It's escaped my mind. I suppose the other question. Oh, that's right. The telescope. What's my best practice for exposing myself to space? And is there anything I can do for these poor guys, or should I just kill them and take them as food? Cool. Thank you for watching. Any questions or comments, obviously, feel free to chuck them below. And hopefully what we are now looking at is almost a more complete version of this, this ever-changing setup. And yeah, catch you later. See ya.